It was a late evening at Hampton Court Palace, and the workman was late but almost finished his work. He had to get his work finished ready for the morning when it opened to the public. Then he found something. "Hey, what's this?" "An old box under these palace floorboards." He opened it. Wait, there's something glowing inside. A necklace? A bee hung from the necklace. Gasp and whoosh sound. A woman appeared from nowhere in front of the workman. She had black hair. The corridors were dimly lit due to it being late evening. Who are you, my lady?" "I am Queen Anne Boleyn. The witch's spell worked after all these centuries." Your Majesty? I'm just a workman here at Hampton Court. Anne Boleyn looked shocked and surprised to be stood there. She pleaded with the workman. "Please tell me, what became of my Elizabeth?" "My dear daughter? And Henry, what happened after She burst into tears, remembering what had happened to her, and that her daughter had been dead now for centuries. The workman gazed at her in total shock. He didn't know what to do. He looked around to see if anyone else could see what was happening, but he was totally alone in this part of the palace. "Your daughter became one of England's greatest queens, Your Majesty. Queen Elizabeth I. A queen. My Elizabeth. And what of this strange world I see around me? Everything is so different. Will you help me understand these times?" Queen Anne Boleyn smiled at the man, and she rubbed her neck where it felt sore. "Of course, Your Majesty. Though I must say, this is quite possibly the strangest day of work I've ever had." "What year is it?" she asked. "It is 2025, my lady," he said. He rubbed his eyes, still unable to believe what he was seeing. She began to wander a corridor, remembering all the memories of being in the palace. The workman shone his battery torch, and it lit up a painting on a wall of King Henry VIII, and she gazed up at it. "I loved Henry. Perhaps I was a fool to do so. He betrayed me," she said, looking up at old photos of the king. But following them in the darkness was a hooded man with a dagger, footsteps echoing through stone corridors. "Run! This way!" I gasp, my Tudor gown rustling as I pull the terrified workman through Hampton Court's darkened halls. Who would have thought that returning from the dead would lead to this? This cursed bee necklace brought me back. But now this hooded man won't rest until I'm banished again. Heavy breathing. 5 centuries I've wandered as a restless spirit, and now that I'm flesh and blood again, someone wants to end it all. The hooded man's dagger gleams in the moonlight. Anne sensed death was coming again to her, and Henry had won. The young workman tries to defend her, but the hooded man was strong, throwing the workman across the room, and then the hooded man began to pursue Anne again. But wait! The first rays of dawn are breaking through the windows. The hooded man screams, dissolving into shadow. But this isn't my true salvation. There, in the golden morning light, my beloved Elizabeth, my daughter, now a spirit herself with long red hair. She's smiling, reaching out her hand. "Come, mother," she whispers. "It's time for peace." Perhaps this was the real purpose of my return, not to live again, but to finally find my way to the afterlife. The workman watches on in shock. Elizabeth's spirit takes Anne's hand, and they both go through a magic doorway into the afterlife. And silence returns to Hampton Court.
Waking up in a world you don't recognize. That's exactly what happened to me, Anne Boleyn. One moment I'm in the Tower of London awaiting my fate, and the next, I'm standing on these strange paved streets, surrounded by roaring metal carriages and people in the most peculiar attire. I was brought back by a magic spell from my bee necklace cast in 1536. I was in Hampton Court where a workman found the necklace, but now I am wandering London. My Tudor gown and bee necklace draw stares from passers-by who hold glowing rectangles to their faces. This can't be heaven, can it? That's when Steve found me, his eyes widening with recognition. He's been explaining everything. These cars, phones, and this thing called coffee we're drinking in what he calls a cafe. But what moves me most is learning about my Elizabeth. My daughter became queen, the greatest monarch England has ever known. Though I'm lost in this strange time, at least I know I wasn't forgotten. Steve's promised to keep my return a secret, but I wonder, what will this new world make of Anne Boleyn?
In the dead of night at Hampton Court Palace, I wander these familiar halls, my home once again, though centuries have passed. The world thinks I'm just an actor walking the streets of London. People in Hampton Court think I work here, bringing history to life. But the truth? I, Anne Boleyn, have returned. The modern Princess Kate requested I should be allowed to live in Hampton Court. As I walk these dimly lit corridors, unable to sleep, my bee necklace suddenly begins to glow, casting an eerie light through the darkness. Then I hear it, soft sobs echoing off the ancient walls. My heart nearly stops as a figure emerges from the shadows. It's Catherine Howard, my young cousin, another queen who shared my tragic fate. She has come back to life. But how? "Anne!" she whispers, her voice trembling. "Henry, he's back too." Before I can process this revelation, we're drawn to the throne room. And there he sits, that monster who sent us both to our deaths, acting as if time never passed. But this time it's different. Catherine and I exchange knowing glances. We're no longer the powerless queens we once were. Together, we'll make Henry VIII remember why he should have feared us all along. Anne and Catherine swear to have their revenge upon Henry VIII. His guard steps forward and draws his sword. Can Anne and Catherine get payback on Henry?